You can repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 5.18. How many of you have the verse with you? Anyone has the verse? Okay, not many, so I'll just do it myself. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Sunichaiva Swapakecha Pandita Samadarshina. Does anyone know the verse by heart? No, okay. If you have, you can try. No, Prabhu, you have it? Yeah, you can try.
Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Sunichaiva Swapakachet Pandita Samadarshina.
Anyone else? Okay. Vidya with education, Vinaya and gentleness, Sampanne fully equipped, Brahmane in the Brahmana, Gavi in the cow, Hastini in the elephant, Suni in the dog, Cha and Eva certainly, Swapake in the dog eater, the outcast, Cha respectively, Pandita those who are wise, Samadarshina who see with equal vision. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. The humble sages, by virtue of true knowledge, see with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog-eater outcast. Purport. A Krishna-conscious person does not make any distinction between species or castes. The Brahmana and the outcast may be different from the social point of view, or a dog, a cow, and an elephant may be different from the point of view of species. But these differences of body are meaningless from the viewpoint of a learned transcendentalist. This is due to their relationship to the Supreme. For the Supreme Lord, by His plenary portion as Paramatma, is present in everyone's heart. Such an understanding of the Supreme is real knowledge. As far as the bodies are concerned in different castes or different species of life, the Lord is equally kind to everyone, because He treats every living being as a friend, yet maintains Himself as Paramatma, regardless of the circumstances of the living entities. The Lord as Paramatma is present both in the outcast and in the Brahmana. Although the body of a Brahmana and that of an outcast are not the same. The bodies are material productions of different modes of material nature, but the soul and the supersoul within the body are of the same spiritual quality. The similarity in the quality of the soul and the supersoul, however, does not make them equal in quantity, for the individual soul is present only in that particular body, whereas the Paramatma is present in each and every body. A Krishna-conscious person has full knowledge of this, and therefore he is truly learned and has equal vision. The similar characteristics of the soul and supersoul are that they are both conscious, eternal and blissful. Both the difference is that the individual soul, but the difference is that the individual soul is conscious within the limited jurisdiction of the body, whereas the super soul is conscious of all bodies. The super soul is present in all bodies without distinction. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gramayam Dadati Swapnantikam. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatade Sitarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So ask for your blessings and permissions to speak something on this verse. It's a very tall order, they say in English. It's a very deep verse that you can study for years and you can still practice it, keep practicing it. So in the Bhagavad Gita, there are many times where Krishna is speaking about equality. In the second chapter, he speaks about equality of how you can achieve equilibrium of the mind. Right? What does he say? He says the non-permanent appearance and disappearance of happiness and distress are like winter and summer seasons. They appear from sense perception and you should learn to control them without being disturbed. Right? So there is up and down always in the material world. That is what Krishna is stating here, like summer and winter seasons. So there is a cycle. And the wise man knows that after summer, winter is going to come. And after winter, the summer is coming again. Right? So there is one very nice saying. If you are in any kind of difficulty, then you should paste this saying maybe beside your wall on your bed. And the saying is, "This too shall pass." So when you are in difficult situation, you look at this verse and you feel this is not permanent. It is coming and it will go. After some time, it's not going to be here. And similarly, if you are in a very happy condition, let's say you got some lottery, you win a lottery, so you become very happy. Then you look at this wall and you also think, this too shall pass. This happiness also won't last very long. Right? So Krishna is giving this importance to equilibrium of the mind, because without this, we cannot focus on something deeper. For example, if you throw a stone in the pond, what happens? Then you have ripples. And when you have ripples, then you do not see beneath. You do not see the bottom. But when the pond is very clear, you can see what's in the bottom. So when the mind is very clear, then you can see things as it is. Right? Have you had this experience? That when the mind, especially in the morning, that is why it is said, you do not make your big decisions in life, you do not take at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, the mind is very chanchal, they say in Sanskrit. The mind is very disturbed and you do not see things as it is. But in the beginning of the day, the mind is very peaceful. It's in the mode of goodness, and then you can make, let's say, important decisions. So Krishna talks about equilibrium of the mind, and he talks about also something called samatvam, meaning you see everyone equally. So this concept of equality is there in many places in the Gita. So in this particular verse also, we have Krishna elaborates the concept of equality. So in the second chapter, we understand that we are not the body, right? Krishna explains that we are not the body, we are the spirit, soul. But this is the theory. Nowadays, people are not just happy with theory. They want something. How can this be applied to my life? Right? How can the theory that I'm learning, how can this be useful for me? What's in it for me? That's what people want. So, if we see this verse, it's a very practical way to achieve peacefulness in the world, because most of the conflicts or wars we see, it's because we are seeing the bodies, right? We are from different kinds of body, we have a different kind of machine, but the machine is just the outer covering. We may have a different kind of cars, but that car does not define us. Maybe if we are too attached to your car, suppose you are driving sometimes and then someone hits your car, and you come out of the come out of your car, and what do you say? You hit me, right? It's not hitting you, it's hitting your car. But then you identify yourself so much with the car that you think this car is me. So similarly, we have identified so much with the body that we think this body is us. And that brings about so many conflicts. So for the Srila Prabhupada, he would say, real united nation can only be achieved when we understand that each and every being is a spirit soul, and we give them the respect they deserve because they are the spirit soul. Right? When we were small, we had to read this book by George Orwell called Animal Farm. Anyone read this book? Animal Farm? You have read? Yeah, few. So he talks about this animal farm and it's basically something like it's basically giving an example of a farm where communism slowly develops, and there is a quote that they have all developed, and it says, everyone is equal, but some are more equal than others. Meaning how the animal farm starts is saying, okay, we are all equal. But slowly what happens is they manufacture their own rules, and then they start saying, we are all equal, but some of us are more equal than the others. So we see this in the political scenario. Suppose, for example, in communism, the philosophy is they try to create a classless society, right? So, but when you do this artificially, then you immediately have two class already. You have the class which is being ruled, and you have the ruler class. So basically what I'm trying to say is equality cannot be achieved on the material platform. Equality cannot be achieved on the material platform. because the basis is wrong. Because on the material platform, none of us are equal. Right? On the material platform, we have different bodies, we have different qualities. So on the material platform, none of us are equal. So if we try to create a society based on this wrong fact that we are all equal, then it does not work. But it can work if it's based on the spiritual understanding that we are all spiritual in nature, and we respect each other because we are all coming from the same source. So if we do this, then real equality can be achieved. That is, Prabhupada would say, that is spiritual communism, treating everyone equally because they are all spirit souls. So this is spiritual communism, right? So we see we have a longing for equality. We want to see, and if you see in the, if you look at the news, one of the most biggest headlines that come about is the news that is someone is discriminating against someone. Suppose there is a person from a higher caste, or let's say someone of one color is discriminating on the person of another color. Then that makes the headlines because people really feel that we should all be treated equally. This is a very big factor. You know, people really yeah, and if someone does not follow this concept, then it becomes a big issue. So we want a world where people are equal, people are treated equally, and we have a justice system also that says everyone is equal in the eyes of the law, right? So where does this need for equality come from? Where does it come from? Any answer? Yeah, everything comes from Krishna. But a little, let's say, try to tease it out. Where does the need for equality come from? Because of so much discrimination. Yeah. So, mhm. So yeah, that's true. We have so much of discrimination in the world that we want to fight against that also. And basically, Prabhupada explains in one place that we all want to be treated equally because as spirit souls we are all equal. And of course we have this intuition that we want to be treated equally, but that comes from our actually eternal nature, that we are Satchit Ananda. That comes from the soul, and the soul can relate to each other based on that knowledge of Satchit and Ananda. So for example, we are all, let's say, we also say we are all looking for pleasure, and that also comes from the soul, right? The soul is full of happiness, and we don't want to die. That also comes from the soul. That comes from the characteristics of the soul, because the soul is eternal and we never want to die. So similarly, the need for equality also comes from the soul. And that need can be satisfied, Prabhupada says, only through spiritual science. Right? So I'll read some I'll read the purport and we can just discuss a little bit on what Srila Prabhupada is exactly saying. A Krishna conscious person does not make any distinction between species or castes. This is a big statement because if you look at the surface, we can see that the society is arranged in a way where people are treated equally. But if you just scratch beneath the surface there is so much of hypocrisy in the way the society is run, because you have, Prabhupada would call it speciesism. Like, you only treat the human beings with respect, but according to the Bhagavad Gita, you treat each and every species with equal respect, because they are also spiritual beings. They just have a body of an animal, right? So a Krishna conscious person does not make any distinction. So this is actually a spiritual vision. The word Sastra, if you look at books like Bhagavad Gita, it's called Sastra. And there is something called Sastra Chakshu, meaning you see through the eyes of these books, of these literatures. Right? For example, if I give a child a €10 bill, and then I give him, let's say, a chocolate, the child will accept a chocolate, right? But someone who is a little grown up, they will know that the €10 is much more valuable, and they will take the 10 euros if given a choice. So what is the difference between the child and this grown up person? What is the difference? Different consciousness. Any other answer? Yeah, the child is much more ignorant. The child does not know the value of this €10 bill. Right? So similarly, so when the child knows the value of the €10 bill, then he can accept this €10 instead of the chocolate. So now the child has knowledge, and then he can accept the €10 bill. So similarly, at our present scenario, we may be so much ignorant of things that is happening around us, and we do not accept the things because of their true value. Right? For example, we accept this material world to be a place of enjoyment, to be permanent, because it's actually a childish thinking. Because if you ask the saints, if you look at the sages from the Bhagavatam, what will they tell us? That this world is not meant for your enjoyment. It's temporary. It will give a little bit of pleasure, but it cannot last long. So according to the sages, all of us here, we are very childish because we are trying to enjoy this material world. So when we see through the eyes of the sages, see through the eyes of what they are speaking, then we see our world very differently, and that is called Sastra Chakshu. We use their eyes, we use what they are saying, we wear it, and then we see the world differently. Like if you wear a yellow tinted glass, then you see the whole world around you as yellow. If you wear a blue tinted glass, you see everything blue. So similarly, if you wear this knowledge glasses, then you can see things with a different perspective. So Srila Prabhupada is saying here, a Krishna conscious person does not make any distinction between species or castes. The Brahmana and the outcast may be different from the social point of view, or a dog, a cow, and any elephant may be different from the point of view of species, but differences of the body are meaningless from the viewpoint of a learned transcendentalist. So in the verse we can see there are 3 animals. So a sage, by virtue of true knowledge, sees with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, and then there are, Krishna says, three animals: a cow, an elephant, and a dog. According to what I heard, a cow is an animal in a mode of goodness, elephant is an animal in a mode of passion, and dog is an animal in a mode of ignorance. So what Krishna is trying to do here is, whatever be the kind of body, we see with an equal vision. And he is also giving example of a learned and gentle Brahmana, let's say, which is someone in a mode of goodness, and then you have other dog eater or whatever, who are, let's say, in the mode of passion or ignorance. So whatever be, so Krishna is giving many different examples of different kinds of bodies, and he's saying it can be anyone who is in front of you, can have any type of body, any type of difficulty or contamination, but what we do is we see the spirit soul. There is a saying, every saint has a past, every sinner has a future. Do you know this? Every saint, he was not a saint, he had a past. And every sinner, let's say someone who is not so saintly, he has a future, meaning at one point in his existence, he has the potential to become a saint also, right? So we do not discriminate based on the fact that this body is just one point in the vast existence of our, we have a very long existence. Let's say, for example, I can draw a line from here to, let's say, Berlin. It's a long line. Then now you choose one point in that line, and that one point is your current life. Let's say something like this. That one point is your current life. This whole line is your existence. So how insignificant is this life right now? Srila Prabhupada would say it's just like a sneeze. How long do you sneeze? It just comes and goes, right? So this life is just very tiny compared to our vast existence. So when you see someone who is, let's say, not so advanced, basically we don't have to become proud, because at one point in our existence we were in the same condition. We had the body of a cat, we had the body of a dog, we had a body of someone who wanted to enjoy this material world so much. Maybe we also had a body of a thief at one point, who knows? Maybe we had a body of a murderer. I like to think it that way, So we don't know what we were in our past lives. So that really gives us a perspective of who we are and how to relate with others. There is a concept of zooming out. When you have a photo, you have so many nice pictures of Krishna here. You can zoom in into the photo and you can zoom out, right? So when you zoom in, you can see all the small things in the photo, all the small details. And when you zoom out, then you see the whole photo in a bigger perspective. So in the way we deal with our life, we also have to constantly zoom in and zoom out. When we are doing our duties, we zoom in, but we should always have this practice of zooming out and seeing a bigger reality. We are part of a bigger reality. There is a bigger plan. And of course, the plan maker is Krishna himself. And there is a big plan for us. There was once, I heard this story, there was once a girl who was flying, and the whole plane started shaking, you know. And everyone was shouting, but this girl was very quiet. And after 10 seconds, the plane was it stopped shaking. So and then this person realized this girl was not at all afraid. So this person asked the girl, "Well, how come you were not afraid?" And the girl replied, "My father is the pilot." So I know for sure that my father, who is flying the plane, he will not crash or whatever. He knows how to fly, so I'm not disturbed because I know who is flying the plane. So when we see a bigger picture in life, we can also be fearless like this girl also. When we understand that there is a bigger reality. So this change of perspective comes when we read Prabhupada's purport. Something like this, just one line, if you just read one line, it gives so much perspective to so many things. When Prabhupada would encourage devotees to distribute his books, he would sometimes say, just one line can change the person's life, just one line. And I'm just looking at this purport and I'm reading the first line, and it has so much heaviness. So many things can be taken from this one line. A Krishna conscious person does not make any distinction between species or castes. Right? So that is I'm just thinking that is the power of Prabhupada's words. Anyway, let's read. This is due to their relationship to the Supreme, for the Supreme Lord by his plenary portion as Paramatma is present in everyone's heart. So just like this girl had her father flying, we also have someone flying our plane. We are the passenger, and there is someone who knows how things are going on. That's the Paramatma, that's the well-wisher, that's a friend. Krishna says in the 15th chapter, Bhaktaram yagya tapasam sarva loka maheshwaram suridam sarva bhutanam gyatva mam shantim rikshati. So suridam, he is the well-wishing friend. When we define a concept of the Supreme Lord, people like to imagine the Supreme Lord as the someone who is up there in the clouds, and he's making rules, and he's just looking at people and thinking, when will they break the rules and I can send them somewhere, But that Lord is also within our heart and guiding us as a friend. That is also one of the most important aspects of God, that he is a well-wisher of all the living entities. Right? So he is present as the Paramatma, so we don't have to worry. We can become fearless. Srila Prabhupada, his name was Abhay Charanaravinda. What is the meaning? Anybody knows? Without fear. Yeah, Bhai means fear, and Abhaya means no fear. So someone who is fearless, having taken the shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. That is the meaning of Abhay Charanaravinda. So when you take the shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, you become fearless. That is one, Srila Prabhupada was once giving a lecture and one person asked, what do you get out of Krishna consciousness? And Srila Prabhupada immediately he replied, you get free of fear. That is something, because people are all fearful. In the material world, people are mostly always fearful. And what to speak of people in this age, they are all full of anxiety mostly. So fear comes out of so many different things, of course, but even the animals, they are always fearful. Who is going to come and eat me? Maybe for us, it may not be who is going to come and eat me, but maybe who is going to come and destroy my ego? That's a fear. Who is going to come and say something wrong to me? Who is going to come and hurt me? We all have this fear in the material world. Fear of death is another fear. So we have so many fears. But by taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, we become fearless. As far as the bodies are concerned, in different castes or different species of life, the Lord is equally kind to everyone because He treats every living being as a friend, yet maintains Himself as Paramatma regardless of the circumstances of the living entities. So the living entities are traveling in the universe from the topmost planet to the lowmost planet, traveling like, how do you say? We want to travel, and we are traveling, actually. Interplanetary travels. We have always wanted to travel. We want to go to the moon. We want to go to the Mars. And in this existence also, we have been traveling from the topmost planet called Brahmaloka, and then we travel to so many different planets. So in this bodies, somehow we got this body, and but the Paramatma is always there in each and every body. Imagine you are a spider. You were a spider once. Imagine that. And you are just thinking, when will a fly come into my cobweb and I will eat this fly? That is what the spider is thinking. But Krishna is there in the spider's body, even in this situation. So each and every living entity, Krishna as Paramatma is present as a well-wisher. So it's true that when you calm the mind, you can attain some realization because you can listen to your Paramatma. Right? That's true. That the Buddhists, they calm their mind and they achieve something very high. And that's true because you get this unfiltered version of what the Paramatma is saying. So the Paramatma is present in every outcast, in the Brahmana, although the body of the Brahmana and that of an outcast are not the same. So the body is different, but the quality of the soul is the same. So there is a saying, that of a tree that has a lot of fruits goes down. It's have you seen a tree with a fruit? Let's say a mango tree. If it has too many mangoes, it comes down. It's so heavy that it comes down. So similarly, it is said, a person with a lot of knowledge, he or she is humble. Right? So knowledge of the fact that we are not the body, where the spirit soul should make us humble in this way, and then we can treat others also with some respect. right? The bodies are material production of different modes of material nature, but the soul and the super soul within the body are of the same spiritual quality. The similarity in the equality of the soul and the super soul, however, does not make them equal in quantity. So, of course, now seeing with spiritual equality is meant to expand our vision, but it does not make us materially blind also. We have to understand that also. We are using the knowledge and we are seeing that everyone is spirit soul, but equality of vision does not mean equality of action. The vision can be there, but let's say there is a tiger, we do not go and hug the tiger. We may hug a dog, we may hug some animals, but if there is a tiger's body, tiger comes, then we do not go and hug the tiger. So equality of vision does not equal equality of action. So we reciprocate with bodies according to um, according to what's practical, but the background is always there that everyone is spirit soul and everyone is essentially coming from Krishna, right? A Krishna conscious person has full knowledge of this, and therefore he is truly learned and has equal vision. So Srila Prabhupada is the perfect example of this, of a person who is Krishna conscious and has full knowledge. So he has equal vision. Once he was asked by a reporter, he was just giving a class on four different levels in the Varnashram society. And there was a reporter present and he said, Swamiji, you are talking about first class, second class, third class, fourth class. What are you? Which class are you? What do you think you are? Because he was trying to ask in a challenging way. And Srila Prabhupada, he just said, I'm the fifth class and I want to serve all the four classes. So if we just see his life, we can see how much of humility he carried. I was just reading this book by Dinatarine about Yamuna Devi, who was one of Srila Prabhupada's early disciples. And one of the most attractive feature of Srila Prabhupada was his humility. You can imagine a 70-year-old man, living with 20, 21-year-old kids. And then he was so humble. He was in the first center that they had, 26 Second Avenue. He was practically doing everything by himself. He was cooking, he was inviting everyone, he was giving the class, he was washing the dishes after they left. And at one point the people who were coming, they thought, oh, this old man is doing everything by himself. Why don't we go and ask if he needs some help? And then they would go, the first guy, he went and then he asked, Swamiji, do you need some help? And eventually some people even came and started living, and there was not many showers to take bath, and they would go take the shower and there would be a long line, and Srila Prabhupada would also stay in the line, so he conquered everyone out of his humility. And that is the nature of a Krishna conscious person, is they're naturally humble. So how much time do we have? We have 15 more minutes, I think. I'll just finish the purport, and maybe if there is any comments or questions, you can ask, or just any comments. The similar characteristics of the soul and the super soul are that they are both conscious, eternal, and blissful. But the difference is that the individual soul is conscious within the limited jurisdiction of the body, whereas the super soul is conscious of all the bodies. So there is a difference, of course, between. So there are two individuals living within the body. There is one, that's us, that's the soul, and there is the other. Prabhupada says super soul. This is not there in the English language. I've never heard it anywhere. But the super soul is this Paramatma, right? So there is the soul, there is the super soul, but they are different personalities. The super soul is not the same as the soul. They have the same quality, but the quantity is different. Any comments or questions? I just want to make a quick comment on, if there is nothing. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking about how can we practice this, seeing everyone equally. It's a nice concept, but how can we practice? One thing that came to my mind is, I don't know, have you tried distributing books? When you try to distribute books, so Srila Prabhupada, his spiritual master basically gave him one instruction in Radhakund, that's in India, and he executed this instruction throughout his life, and he would say, my success is because I followed this instruction of my guru. So his guru, he told him, if you ever get money, print books. And he strived to follow this instruction, and later on his spiritual master again told him that you should publish or write books. I mean, through a letter, but one of his god brothers told him to write books. And then when he went to the US, he had 200 volumes of books in trunks. He had no money, so he takes almost a month in a cargo ship. Can you imagine? I don't even want to go on a boat in a passenger ship for a few days. What about for 1 month in a cargo ship? And he had 2 heart attacks. I mean, we can just think, we cannot imagine the compassion, but we can just think how much of compassion is needed for someone to leave every kind of security they had and go to an unknown place where he knew no one. Right now, if we want to go somewhere, we arrange Airbnbs or whatever, hotel. We have our nice credit cards, we have Google Maps, we know some friends there. But 1965, Srila Prabhupada knew nobody, just one person who was willing to sponsor his visa and who said he would help. But he knew no one. He didn't know if there was something to eat. He had 40 rupees, and his god brothers, they had gone to England before, but nobody had ever gone to the US, to America. So, and his main contribution was his books, basically. So through his books, he created a revolution in so many people's lives. So he really emphasized that we can actually bring a change in society by distributing these books. So he wrote so many books. He gave commentaries to so many Bhagavatam verses, and almost 70 volumes, let's say. So he would wake up at midnight and start translating, and he would be very encouraged when devotees would distribute his books and bring him results, you know. So that is also one of the purpose of the society, is to educate people through mass book distribution. So I was just trying to say, uh, when we distribute books, this is something we also do on the streets. You can actually practice this verse. What you can do is, the verse says, see everyone with equal vision, right? So what we do is we remember our favorite deity, and we see that every person that is passing by, we see that the deity is present in their heart. We make a small image, and then we meditate on the deity in their heart, because Krishna is present in the heart. So this is a nice way of meditation that you can practice also. If you, I mean, there are so many things in the Bhagavad Gita that really comes alive when you just get a little out of your comfort zone and try to see how things go. You can experience Krishna's magic, basically. You know, we have had some experience maybe of this Krishna's magic at work. But all this, all that Krishna says, it really comes alive when you get out a little bit of your comfort zone, and then you try something, you risk something for Krishna, and then you can truly realize, wow, that was such a nice realization I had. I could really see, I could really feel that Krishna was using me. I could really feel so much equality. I could really feel that I was not at all discriminating between anyone. You know, so this is a nice way you can apply what we discussed today. The month of December is basically a month where we distribute a lot of Srila Prabhupada's books. So he wrote so many books, like I said. So you can all try according to your capacity. It's difficult to go alone. So if you make a group, and then if you go, it's much more pleasing, and it's also fun. There is a quote by Vaisheshika Prabhu. He says, Sankirtan is fun and easy. It's fun and easy. Of course, it's difficult, but it's an inspiration to the mind that Sankirtan is fun and easy. It's like a hot chutney, they say sometimes. Hot chutney is very nice and very sweet, but it's hot. So that's Sankirtan. So you can try distributing books in the month of December, and you will feel a very different kind of happiness that you never felt before, actually. It's very ecstatic. It's difficult to describe, but you feel that you are being used by Krishna to give the message to others. I was once with Leelamrita Mataji. She's upstairs somewhere. And she was talking to one person for half an hour, and they were laughing like anything. They were just joking. And I asked her, what were you saying to that person? You guys had such a nice conversation. And she said, I don't know what I said. Krishna was speaking through me. So you have heard this many times from the book distributors. You can hear this. I don't know what I was saying. Krishna was speaking through me. So, yeah. Srila Prabhupada is very merciful that Lord Brahma, he achieved perfection by doing tapasya for so many thousands of years. How we become purified is by doing this tapasya of Sankirtan. That's only our way of purification. Otherwise, it's difficult for us to get purified. Just seeing everyone with equal vision is not easy. It's not easy. We have so many contaminations in our heart. But if we do this Sankirtan Yagya, then it really helps. It really helps to purify your heart, and it really helps because we are in the fire now. We are in the fire of Sankirtan, and that purifies us. Just like Lord Brahma, he saw at the end of his yagya, he could get Krishna's darshan. So we can also be qualified to have that, but we have to perform the Sankirtan yagya. Okay, I think it's time, right? Yeah, I asked already if anyone has questions. Any more questions or any comments?
If no one has, you can ask questions.
Prabhu has questions.
Well, thank you for your lecture. I wrote a lot of things on my paper, and the most valuable and important for me was the answer from Prabhupada on the question, what did someone, what do you have from the Krishna consciousness? Fearlessness. This short answer, there's so much included. Very good.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for sharing. Any reflections, maybe, if not comments?
I have a question.
Yeah, please.
So you said that like Krishna has a plan for us and he's guiding us in our heart and so on. So how's it that like still like so many times in a day, like most of the times in a day, like a lot of people, including me, forget Krishna?
Okay. We forget Krishna. So is that part of the plan, you mean?
Yeah, I don't know, like yeah.
Well, part of the plan is Krishna is also giving you the free will. That is also part of the plan. So we have the ability to choose if we want to remember Krishna. And if we don't remember Krishna, we get the consequence. And that is also part of his bigger plan. But he is eagerly waiting, and he interferes more if we let him interfere, I think. So if we remember and pray to him, if we remember him during the day, then he interferes and he gets directly involved. Otherwise, he lets material energy handle, which is also his plan. Sometimes his plans are more direct for the devotees, and of course we are all trying to be his devotees, and if at some point we forget him, then of course Srila Prabhupada once said that once you are Krishna's devotee, then he never leaves you. So he is always trying to help you also. That's also his plan. He is always trying to bring you closer by some way or the other, through devotees, through the spiritual master. So if we are forgetting Krishna, then he sends people also to help us to remember him. Yeah. But he's like a witness always. At least if you don't want him, he is a witness. He never leaves. But if we desire to have him in our life, then he helps. He helps by many ways, by sending especially the devotees and maybe some clips on the internet. But he helps. That's his plan, to help you. Okay. Anything else?
What is exactly the difference between Paramatma and the Holy Spirit of the Christ
Holy Spirit of the Christ.
in Paramatma?
Was ist der Unterschied zwischen der Paramatmen?
I don't have much knowledge about Christianity, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Maybe later on you can explain me what this concept is, and maybe we can talk what the difference or the similarities are. Anything else? Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Gaura Bhaktarinda ki jai.
Sacisuta Prabhu ki
Prabhupada ki jai.